Hello everybody, welcome back again to Lotty's Chainsaw Mods. I haven't done a video for a little while. I've been busy building this chainsaw dyno, which I've been banging on about for a while. I've just completed it today. Now, I know that, I know there's a lot of people out there that have got professional chainsaw dynos and what have you. I wanted one, to be fair, so that more than anything I could test out my modifications that I do. Now, okay, you might say it's not going to be dead accurate, but it is fairly accurate, to be fair. I mean, it's cost me next to nothing, this dyno. I'll show you around it first, actually. Just get the camera in. I'll just show you around it, like, so you can have a little look at it. So obviously I've had to buy a few bits and pieces for this, but majority of it is just stuff I had lying around. I've got myself a scale that's able to read pounds. You might be able to see better from this side, actually. So yeah, so I got myself a scale here, look. Okay, that reads in pounds. Then I've got my arm, which goes from the centre here to here, is exactly 12 inches. So pounds, feet. So we're measuring pounds, feet. I've got a little taco down there. Can you see it lit up? Just there's a little taco, which I do have. I've got another taco which runs basically direct off like a luminous strip, and I've checked my taco against that, and that other one goes up to something like 22,000 RPMs or something. So this taco is right, it is correct, because I've checked it against the other one. So I've got that, because obviously I don't want is bullshit settings, bullshit measurements, really. I want it to be somewhere near accurate, and to be fair, it is. It was close to being completed about a week ago, and I did a run with it. Had a few little issues. I'll go into them in a minute. But okay, so the next sort of, so you'll have to buy a weighing scale if you want to do this. And if you look just here, look, it's a disc brake, brand new. I got these off Amazon. It's brand new, like, and brake caliper and disc brake. Now, I know there's a lot of people have dynos, and they use either a hydraulic motor or a water vane or something like that, which, yeah, I'd say it's probably better. The only thing with this, I find, is it is very, very difficult to operate whilst you're trying to take your readings. Okay, but I'll go into that in a minute because I've come up with a solution for that. So there's your disc brake, and the hub came with it, so it has a hub. Might be able to see better from this angle, perhaps, maybe. I'm trying my best to see what you can see, you know, so if anybody else feels like, you know, they want to build one of these things, then, you know, there it is. So there you go. So all the hub, bearings and everything, and the disc and the caliper. I'm not sure whether it was Amazon, but they do sell them on Amazon, but I haven't seen them all together on Amazon. Like this setup with the caliper, brake pads and everything. I haven't actually seen that. Just realised the pads are already getting low. I've only run it a few times. I have to try and get some pads for this. But this did come with the whole lot, and I paid 12 quid for this, and I'm pretty sure I think what I did, I think I googled it. Mountain bike front, hub, disc and caliper, and it came as one thing listed, but I suppose you could probably buy them separately. You know, and if you're lucky enough to get hold of a used one, you know, you could do that, because that's all it is. And then I've got obviously an old guide bar and my chain, of course. What I've done with the chain, I've taken all the teeth off. I've just cut them off for safety's sake, really, you know, because ultimately all you're going to do with this thing is load it up, continuously load it up, and you know, oh, that's better. You got a better picture right there, I think, haven't you? That's better, actually. Yeah, so you know, so that is obviously, as you can see, connected to the chain. So you do have to cut the guide bar up, and you have to basically remove the star drive, and I cut a section about that long from the front of this bar, but before I cut it off, I made some, what I did, I pre-drilled it, made some brackets, etc., so that they were perfectly in line before I cut all this. And anyway, then I cut the actual bar. Yeah, the one side I cut. So I cut the bar, the end of the bar here, but on the outside, and remove this front section. But I'd already pre-drilled it and put steel brackets across, so that I knew I could put it back together in the correct place. Okay, but you've got to take the one section away so that you can get to the drive sprocket, which that's what I did. And I removed all the bearings and everything out of it, put the bar back on, welded the drive sprocket on with the bar already over this hub, and then I put the bolt-on section of the bar back over like that. But then, because there's a possibility of your bar doing this and the chain not gripping the star drive, at the front I put another bracket at the front. I don't know if you can see through here, through there, but I put a little bracket, and I've put a bolt at the top and bolt at the bottom. So you basically, I've used nylock nuts on that section, so that you can alter the tension of the groove, if you like. You don't want the groove too wide, you don't want it too tight, otherwise it's going to grip the chain. So I've adjusted it with nylock nuts and bolts, and it's been right. I mean, I've run it a few times actually, but not in its fully completed state like it is now today. okay, because now I've got all the guards on. I made some guards out of some stuff I had lying around here, and also I know you get a lot of oil throwing off the chain, obviously, so I got one on the front here as well. Let's just show you. Got this on the front here, to help stop throwing the oil. I also built, because I said I had trouble with reading the RPMs and the torque, I made a phone stand here, and it's set in the right place. You put your phone on there, use the elastic bands just to hold it down, and it's on a nice spongy cover, so it's not going to scratch the screen or anything, and it reads both torque and RPMs. So I do a video. When I do a run, I'll do a video, put my phone on there, do a video of it, because it is difficult to, you've only got to move that, because that's my load lever, that one there, which, as you can see there, look, moves the caliper, okay. But it's very difficult to read everything whilst you're loading up and holding the throttle at the same time. And obviously you've got to have the throttle on full bore, and you're pulling your load on, and once you hit the point where the engine's dropping, you need to just drop it down to, well, whatever you think it's going to get the highest, because what you need to do is get your highest torque, so your highest pounds on your weighing scale, whilst pulling on this. As soon as if it starts dropping off on the pounds, or pounds feet, because it measures pounds feet ultimately, if it starts dropping off, you have to go back on your lever a little bit. Sometimes the engine will drop too low and it might stall out, and because there's no cooling or anything on this disc, it all gets really hot. But yeah, I just had a little, I think it's practice really, to be fair, practicing, where you're going to find your load, and listening to the engine. You'll normally hear its cutting range, which on most things is around half speed, just slightly above half speed really. Now this is rated at, this is a Parker, by the way. This is a Parker chainsaw, okay, a CS580. Now, the reason this is the first unit I've put on here, and the reason I've done it is because I've had it a few years, I've never modified it. It's completely standard. The only thing that has happened to it at the moment is the air filter's removed, so that I can put my taco, I've got a taco wire here which goes around the plug lead, okay, but it is standard. It was tuned up before I put it in here. I tuned it up out in the garden and I fitted it on. I mean, it takes you 10 minutes or something like that just to chainsaw over. It's pretty similar, just as changing the bar and the chain anyway, like really a little bit more awkward, but yeah. So, and I know that the CS580, the 58cc one, are rated at 3.2 horsepower. Now, I think the first run I did on this, before I got my camera on here, it was really hard reading. Anyway, turned out when I did the calculation, which is RPM times torque divided by 5252, is on the internet. It's on Google if you want to find it. Like, so that's all you need. You need your RPMs, you need your pounds feet, and then you just divide it by, so you times one by the other, then you divide it by 5252. So it is pretty simple. Alright, it's not like these ones that you see where they've got a laptop and they're just doing it all on a laptop and what have you. It's not the same as that, I know that. But at the end of the day, ultimately I spent 12 quid on this. Yeah, okay, there's more to it than that. I spent 12 quid on this, on the disc and hub and everything. And I think I paid, from Amazon I got the weighing scales, about, could have been 15 quid I think. And the tacho cost me about a tenner. And I got one with a longer lead specifically because I wanted it up by the tacho, because originally I was just going to read them visually. Anyway, it works out okay because it means that I can record them both with the camera. So, you know, so ultimately it's doing what I want it to do. You know, I don't want to spend a lot of money on it. You know, I'm not bloody, I don't do racing professionally or anything like that. I just enjoy getting more power out of things. So this is perfect for me. You know, it's cost me next to nothing, and it does what I need it to do. Yeah, so I'm glad I built it, because I know there's things that, you know, I mean, a lot of people say, oh, you know, you haven't sharpened it, you haven't done this, you haven't done that. When you're talking about power mods, so obviously I've been doing this channel for, I don't know, probably about 2 years now, I think. And I enjoy doing this. I enjoy doing all the mods and what have you, and I like sharing them with you guys, you know, because I like looking at other people's videos. It's great. I really enjoy it. You know, you can pick up a few tips. Other people might do it differently. It's like this, you know. This is my version of a cheap dyno. Dirt cheap, I think. I'd like to see, you know, the ones I have seen have been using hydraulics and water vanes and what have you, and they're all right, you know, don't get me wrong, they're good and what have you, and probably last longer than this thing. But, you know, if I need new parts for this, I can just buy myself a new disc, hub, you know, another 12 quid, like, I've got all that. Yeah, I will have to buy some pads for it. Didn't realise they'd go down so quick, actually. They're down to about half now. I've only done about, I don't know, 4 runs or something like that with it. But it gets bloody hot. And the thing is, as well, because before I had the camera, I was running it, trying to get an accurate reading, and it really gets hot, like, you know. So now with the camera on it, hopefully I can get my readings a lot better. Yeah, so this Parker is rated at 3.2. Now, my first run, I think I got it to somewhat like 2.8, but it was a flipping guess with the RPMs. It was a guess with the RPMs, okay? I mean, I was guesstimating at 5,000 RPM, but it was pushing £3, but I couldn't see the figures, the lower figures on the pounds, how many grams. I couldn't see that. Just couldn't do it quick enough, and I couldn't tell exactly what the RPMs were. I knew they were around 5,000. Well, the run I've just on this now, it's shown at 6,000 RPM, because I've videoed it, and £3 dead on. Now, I've just done a calculation on it, and according to that calculation, it's pushing 3.8 horse. Now, yes, they're only rated at 3.2, I had the air filter off, which may have made a tiny bit of difference. But the biggest difference, I think, is because this saw it is totally standard, but it is well running. And believe me, on any engine, when they're running, they will always produce a lot more power, quite a bit more power. Now, I presume that when they dyno tested these Parkers originally, they were probably using a new unit, and you know they're pushing an average of 3.2. So obviously, like all engines are different. The way they're tuned is different. You see, that's another thing. See, I tuned this specifically before I put it on here, and I'd spent a bit of time to get the highest speed out of it in the high jet, and setting the idle jet correctly as well. I spent a bit of time on it, right, getting it nice and crisp, and obviously that's going to make a difference as well. You get one out the box and run it, it is going to be potentially lower in power than one that you've run for a while and that you've tuned up. So yeah, it came out at 3.8. That's the honest truth out of it. It's completely standard. I know that these Parkers, they're Zenoa clones, these Parkers are, but the Parker is a slightly better quality one. They got slightly better plastic on them. They're just a better quality saw, you know. I really love it. I mean, this is another reason why I've just run this, really. I've got this is my third Chinese. Okay, I've got two others which I've souped up, and eventually these will go on the dyno. But there's one of them. Look, that's one of them. Now they're all the same. They're all exactly the same as the Parker. The plastic's a bit different, but I have got new plastic to go on this Parker. I'm putting a high top Husqvarna lid on it. I've got that. I've modified everything. It's all ready to go on. I'm not going to show it on this channel until it's finished completely. But this Parker is I'm going to note down that it's pushed 3.8 horse, 6,000 RPM, and then I'm going to rip through it like I've done with the other two, and I know the other two are close to doubly as fast, doubly as powerful as this, pretty close. I think they're over 5. We will see, because they'll go on this dyno, as will this Parker. But the Parker, I'm going to do a more extreme job on it, especially on the piston. I find that's the key to these a lot, really. You do have to port everything and what have you, put big carb on them, make my own manifold, etc., modify the exhaust. I do everything to them pretty much, except I don't use expansion chambers, because I like to have them looking like a normal saw and be able to use it as a cutting tool. So yeah, that's going to be going on before long. So that's me gubbins, and I've made all this, you know. I've made all this load lever, all been made. Everything's all handmade, apart from obviously the disc and the hub. Everything else is all just handmade, bespoke. If you can see it from there. But yeah, so there it is, and it's so there's my Parker. I've got this nice guard now on it, just nice and safe. So yeah, all the front seats all enclosed, so it shouldn't shoot oil everywhere. Hopefully it'll last. We'll have to source some brake pads, that's the only thing now. It's starting to eat them a bit, so I'll have to see if I can get hold of some of them. I'll take them out and see what sort of shape they are. I don't know much about push bike brakes really, so I'll have to see whether or not they're all the same. I don't know. I haven't got a clue. Not a clue. Let's just put you in here for a minute. Put you in the voice for a minute over here. Have a different angle for you. Yeah, so that's where the phone goes, see? Just on there. So it just looks down onto the weighing scale and the tacho. Basically, what you have to do with it, you've got to hold on to your throttle once you've got it going, and then you're putting the load on as you're revving it full bore. And I mean, you can see the tacho and the weighing scale there, but it was just so difficult. So that's why I put the camera on, so at least I can look at it afterwards. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this one from Lutys Chainsaw Mods. You know, it's I hope it sort of helped you, and you know, hope you enjoyed it, to be fair. Like I say, it's been a while since I've been on here, so this is why, because I've been doing this. So hopefully I might post a few more on it, on this channel again, get it going again. So the views have obviously dropped. Hopefully I can get them back up again. So thank you so much for watching again. I really hope you enjoyed it. And once again, bye from Lutys Chainsaw Mods.